Today was day 57 and we worked on inserting and modifying data. It was basically the same material from last week, except we're actually going into the database now and actually making tables and modifying the schemas in there. So that's how it's a little bit different this week. And the project today was DB zoos, which is basically just making different zoos, and it has a name and then an ID that's already auto-incrementing inside the database, so you don't really have to do anything with that. And then we had to write code to actually connect to that database, and connects is the tool that connects our express code to our database code. So in my code here, you can see I separated out my components, and then I had a zoos route and then a bears route at the top there, and those were just different databases basically. So some of the new code that I had to write were insert, update, and delete. It's just a different way of accessing it, but for the most part, it's the same as last week. Pretty much the same code. It's Express at the end of the day. The only thing we used today was DB Browser for SQLite 3. That's another tool that we started using, and I'll show you guys more of that maybe tomorrow. I'm trying to keep this video brief. So that's it for today. I finished the main goals, MVPs, and then I also got into the stretch challenge and finished that. And with the extra time I had, I just did some light documentation reading and just playing around with SQLite 3. So that's it for me, and see you guys tomorrow.
Hey everyone, today's day 58 and we did querying data, migration, and seeding. So we use different features and of the connects just so that we can back up our database, and then we can, using the migration feature, you can define the structure of your database. It won't save the data. That's where seeding comes in, where you can provide it sample data in the case for testing. So that's the basics of what we learned today. And then the homework today was basically working with a cohorts and students database, just trying to relate the two, saying what students are in each cohort or whatever. This is the GitHub, and you can see all the different endpoints that we have to hit. And then also in my code, there's no presentational front end as much, so it's basically just index, a connects file, different routes, and the seedings and the migration files. So that's all in there in the folder, and I'll let you have a look here. I think the toughest thing for me was probably the one specific get route, where you have to relate the two databases to each other. But I was eventually able to figure it out just by looking at old code and reasoning it out. So that's it for the most part. It's a good day. And tomorrow, I think we're going to go into, what is it? Tomorrow will be data modeling, so that should be good too.
Hi everyone, today is day 59 and we covered data modeling. It's a lot more theoretical ideas than as much code, but we still had to do certain things to connect the data to our backend Express code as well. So some things to think about are just how the relationship between the different datas relate. Is it a one-to-many, one-to-one, many-to-many relationship? And then we also use different keys. There's primary keys, foreign keys, in order to connect these pieces of data together. And since we're writing JavaScript, we have to have a way to convert, like say, an object into a spreadsheet table. So that's something new for me to get used to. And of course, we always still have to write joins, different selects, different groupings, different clauses, essentially. The project today was working with different recipes, different dishes, different recipes, and then ingredients and the steps to make them. It was a pretty elaborate project, to be honest, and it wasn't required that we did all of it, but I tried to get as far as I could. And I can say like I got to where I want to be, but there's always more to learn, especially when you get into a real work environment. This is just kind of where we're playing with data and just kind of learning how to architect a database, essentially. So it was a good day overall. I always wish I had more time, but it was a really good day just to learn about this theory so that we can be set up for the future. And that's it for today. Tomorrow will be the sprint challenge. I looked at it a little bit earlier and it seemed like it could be difficult, so I don't know. We'll just have to see how it goes. So that's it. I'll see you guys later. Hey everyone, today's day 60 and we did the sprint challenge for data persistence week. So this project is working with projects and actions. It was the same as what we've been learning this week. There's just a little twist today where we have to use some kind of connection between projects and actions so that you can display out all the actions for certain projects. So that requires you to use like a select and then maybe a join or some kind of way to connect them together. So I was able to finish that and do the MVP, although this project is a little bit intensive because you just have to be able to wrap your mind about how to actually set up the project. So that took me a little bit of time to do, but I'm still working on some of the stretch goals. So I got to like 1 or 2 of them and was able to make some seed files and a model file as well. And it wasn't a particularly easy project right off the bat. It takes a lot of thinking, but I'm glad I got it finished, and now I'm just waiting to meet with my project manager just to go over one-on-one for this week. And it's been a good week for data persistence, but I definitely need more practice with it. It's a lot more heavy conceptually, especially if you're architecting something from scratch. So that's going to be my weekend for the most part, and I hope you all have a good one, and I'll see you guys back here on Monday. We're going to be starting authentication next week.